All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking literally the bedrock of all economics, the central problem of an economy. Whether you're just sitting at home balancing a household budget, or you're a politician steering an entire nation's fiscal policy, the fundamental challenge here remains exactly the same. By the end of our time today, you're going to have a crystal clear understanding of the invisible forces that shape all the choices around us. Let's get into it.
Starting off with Section 1, the family and limited resources.
I want you to picture a typical family, right? They're bringing home a fixed income, but that single pool of money is constantly being pulled in a dozen different directions. You've got basic survival needs like food and shelter, competing directly with major investments like education, or even just lifestyle wants like entertainment. It's like a giant pie, and if you expand one slice, well, another one inherently has to shrink.
And this creates a pretty universal tension. When resources are strictly limited, but our wants are completely unlimited, how do we decide what to choose? This micro-level struggle that happens around a family kitchen table every single day, it's the exact same dynamic that entire nations face on a massive scale.
Which brings us to Section 2, the central problem of an economy. So, zooming out to the national level, a country only has so much land, labor, and capital. Yet, its citizens are demanding top-tier healthcare, flawless infrastructure, and a booming tech sector. This brings us face-to-face with scarcity. It is the absolute root cause of all economic decision-making. Simply put, it's the condition of having seemingly unlimited human wants in a world of limited resources. We just can't have everything. So it all boils down to this really stark equation. Limited resources plus unlimited wants equals the problem of choice. Because we can't have it all, resource allocation becomes absolutely mandatory. Every single choice demands a trade-off. And that forces economies to answer three really critical questions.
Let's look at the first one in Section 3, what to produce.
Before a single factory is even built, an economy has to prioritize its output. Will the focus be on producing more food to ensure basic survival, or maybe manufacturing luxury goods for economic advancement? Think about it. Producing high-end cars consumes the exact same metal and labor that could have built agricultural machinery. Society has to step up and dictate the exact items and the exact quantities. Moving right along to Section 4, how to produce. Okay, so once an economy decides what to make, it then has to figure out how to make it. And this usually comes down to a technological trade-off. Do you use a labor-intensive technique to maximize employment for a huge population, or do you go the capital-intensive route, relying heavily on machines and automation to maximize your output efficiency? It's a really delicate balancing act between providing jobs for real people and accelerating production. And that leads us to Section 5, for whom to produce. This is the final and honestly probably the most sensitive hurdle, distribution. Who actually gets to consume all these goods we just made? Generally speaking, distribution aligns with purchasing power. High-income groups can afford a much wider array of goods, especially luxuries, while low-income groups are often, restricted to bare necessities. The big systemic question here is whether an economy caters purely to those who can pay, or if it intervenes to make sure essential goods actually reach everyone.
Let's wrap this all up in Section 6, summary and the framework.
Ultimately, every single economic system out there relies on this three-step framework to manage scarcity. Step 1, what to produce, deciding the goods and quantities. Step 2, how to produce, choosing between human labor and machinery. And Step 3, for whom to produce, navigating distribution and purchasing power. Literally every law passed and every government budget approved is essentially just a society trying its best to answer these three questions. Which brings us right back to where we started. Now that you understand this huge macro framework of scarcity, how does your own family allocate its limited income? The next time you have to make a tough financial decision at home, just realize you aren't merely budgeting, you are actively executing the central problem of an economy. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep questioning the choices around you.